Well, that just ruined the whole intro. Now you should be able to hear me without an issue, but yeah, that should have just ruined the whole intro that I had going on. It was remotely funny. Now you'll just have to trust me that, it was completely funny, totally worth it, and you just can't go back and undo all of that, right? Oh gosh. Yo, Crypto Nation and Mining Family, what's going on out there now that I can start that part all over again? Alright, the one thing I forgot to turn back on, because like whenever to save resources for mining, I turn NVIDIA broadcast off so that there's no GPU load. And I forgot to turn it back on. Dope. I try not to do that. It's on my checklist, and I forgot to I was just kind of quickly just blasting through and checking everything off and setting up and then live, and yeah, awesome. So, what's going on, everybody? What's up, what's up? So first little bit of news was something that actually got mailed to me. Yo. This was, Dear Illinois Voter, Public Act 102-0015, signed by the governor on June 17th, 2021, allows voters to complete a one-time application to become enrolled in a permanent vote-by-mail program received by a ballot by mail-in by subsequent elections. If you get one of these fucking bullshit letters, just fucking shred them, dude. This is gonna, how many times do people, I never got that. What are you talking about? You mailed that to me? Oh man, it must have gotten lost in the mail. I see a very bad potential for fucking direct, oh man, you voted? Oh man, what side did you vote on? And you're like, I voted Republican. Oh man, it's such a shame that the Democrats won once again. It didn't look like there was anybody that voted for Republicans this time around. So yeah, me personally, I don't trust the system either way. The system is badly broken. There needs to be something a little bit better. I believe blockchain could solve that. That's just me, but they would have to take control out of their hands. Oh man, they won't do that. they'll figure out how that's racist somehow, that they don't get to control it. So yeah, I would just sit there and kind of still vote in person, and yeah. Even though that part, I believe that shit's fucking manipulated too, but that's a whole different conversation. What's going on this beautiful Monday, guys, is we actually had some cool information coming out, though. We have a Gigabyte 4090 gaming OC on sale a couple of weeks before they're supposed to have been launched. Oop, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Yo, check that out, guys. So somebody decided to start selling these things few weeks early. So I'm sure somebody's gonna get in trouble for all of this. So we've got official box art from Gigabyte. It's like, that boy's thick. Oh yeah. So it shows 2, but I see 3, maybe 3.5. It looks like this thing should have had maybe 4 prongs in it to hold this card back. Holy cow. Big ass fans, man. That is for sure. But we got some box art from Gigabyte. Now that there's no EVGA, there's going to be no enthusiast line whatsoever left in the NVIDIA lineup, guys. Nobody that's left that makes GPUs for NVIDIA does any of the extreme overclocking. Anybody that's done or that does the real validation for overclocking and stuff like that is gone. So they basically do a generic little tweak on there, get it running stable, ship them out the door. They don't care if this one really binned up a little bit higher. All they care about is did the temperatures hold, what was the max frequency, because that gives you your different tiers. But you're not going to get an enthusiast line out of these people. They're not going to bin them quite like that. So this is going to be a sad day for us extreme overclockers. But you know, it's like it is what it is. It's like they've got basically how they're running these fans. So the middle fan helps kind of keep the turbulence, so they're not all spinning the same direction. The middle fan is an opposite direction of the outer two fans, so they can join going in the opposite direction. So these, like how the arrows have it going up, that's going to be the direction of the fans. What they're trying to do is just mitigate some turbulence in between the fans, that they're all going to be kind of pulling air in at the same point. So you kind of get this like little velocity acceleration through it. It's going to have a pretty decent large opening on there. They're going to have their degradation cable in towards the middle. There's going to be nothing cutting across this back. So this open back is going to be very much exposed, air coming through with a fan almost covering the entire opening on this. So if you've got an air-cooled CPU above it, this GPU under a good load, whether you're more than likely when you're gaming, that's when you're going to see this kind of performance degradation. You're going to be gaming something hardcore. This thing is going to be having a small little furnace blowing on your CPU that's air cooled, heating that up, and you may experience, if it's a CPU and GPU hardcore on it, where it's putting both under a pretty good load, you may see a little bit of performance degradation, especially if you have a bad airflow case on there. I think as they start going through into these design setups, you're going to have to make sure that your computer case, I mean, this doesn't affect us if we're sitting there putting these in servers. They're not going to affect us if we got them in an open air mining rig, right? Because we're going to allow the air to come out. Now, the only problem that I have seen with these open air designs is they do, if you have them in a server case, they're a little bit better. But if you have them in an open air rig and you don't have a lot of airflow around them, they start thermal throttling the middle cards pretty bad. Because everything is just kind of breathing hot air on there, you know. It's like, here, suck exhaust, oh yeah. So I mean, computer cases, if they're restrictive, it's like I would start leaning away from your it looks cool cases, and make sure that your case that you're going to be utilizing, if you're grabbing any of these GPUs, are extremely airflow orientated. I don't care how gaudy they look, as long as it's got the airflow that I'm looking for in a case and it fits in the area of where I'm designated it's going to sit. These are not going to be your cards that you want to really run in like one of the small form factor cases. First off, these cards are going to start not fitting in those anyway. So you're going to be limited. Small form factor might be going away here soon. Moore's law means more room, right? More room means bigger case. It's like you're in like 10 years, what your mini case, your mini form factor is going to be a mid-range tower of today. So it'll be pretty interesting to see the performance off of this, how they are allocating the VRAM. They've definitely got it encircled all the way around. Always note that the bottom VRAM is the one that always gets hot, because it's like being suffocated by the motherboard or the riser adapter, whether you're using a full Gen 3, Gen 4 riser for like a cable extension off the motherboard, or you're using a buy one adapter on there. It's going to tend to keep that bottom VRAM a little bit warmer on average. And that's where all the other VRAM, they could be cooler, but they're going to output to the speed of the slowest performing chip. So I hope they had a very good cooling solution and maybe a couple of heat pipes to pull heat off of that bottom VRAM and just get the heat out from underneath the card a little bit. I think that would help out, but without seeing how the layout of the heat pipes are in that cooler, it's hard to say. I can only speculate at this point that they made a standard, horizontal pipes and nothing is touching that VRAM. If they were smart, there's something on there. They got a heat pipe on that VRAM. Otherwise, your performance is degraded to that hottest module. That's just how electronics work. Everything has to be in frequency of each other. And if they fall out of frequency, everything else has to pull back until everything matches back up. Otherwise, you will have performance issues up the wazoo, stability issues like crazy, black screen of deaths, all that good stuff. Not that it's going to break anything. It's just that they have to compensate that. It is one of the necessities. And that's what also what affects the ability of you being able to tune your memory. You can only tune it to the hottest module. So as you can sit there and smack it while it's cold, and then as soon as it gets warmed up, it starts crashing because it's the cooling solution of one of the modules is horrible, and it's usually that bottom one. You got the VGA core itself that is breathing a heat and furnace right onto the modules. The modules are as close as possible to these things. So hopefully they've got as many heat pipes as humanly possible ripping through this thing to absolutely maximize performance of the thicker cooler that they've got on there. Plus just utilizing the real estate a little bit better than they have in generations before, because of the fact that this is the first time we are going to be seeing a GPU that's, let's be real, you're going to be gaming, and it's going to be, sitting 300 watts plus on this 4090. So keep that in mind. And here's a little bit of a close-up on there. You can see some of the copper heat pipes on there. I wish it was a little bit further down. They've got the sticky notes to try to cover up certain information because NVIDIA, Gigabyte, all of them, they know their serial numbers and they can track all that shit. So, yeah, that's why they've got all that stuff covered up. There's your degradation cable. There's your mounting hardware and support brackets for the thick card. And then here is the I/O. So again, we're starting to lean over to more DisplayPort. I'm cool with that. That DisplayPort for the win. I'm cool with utilizing nothing but DisplayPort moving forward. HDMI can stay in the TV market. Let's make computers great again by just having nothing but DisplayPort. Let's standardize DisplayPort. I don't even use HDMI anymore. Even on my HDMI monitors, it's DisplayPort to HDMI. And eventually it'll be pure DisplayPort to DisplayPort once I upgrade my monitors. That will be down the road. But you can see how much thicker. That's going to be probably, if I had to take a guess, that's about an inch and a quarter above the mounting area. So you can't really have, be mindful of how tall your case is, or I say how wide your case is standing, that this card has got to fit in there. This is kind of like how my 3090 for the Win 3 are. The XE3, the cooler and the PCB are flush with this thing. It's a smaller overall card. But my XE3 is a lot taller. It's got better power management on there. And the cooler is much better, and you can see how much more the shroud sticks up above that. I would say that is 3 DIN right here. So I would say with the shroud, this is a 3.5 din. Even though the cooler stops almost, I would say this cooler stops at that 3 din mark. So I would call this 3.5 din. So make sure you got a lot of space in there. Don't make sure that the side panel is not, you want to give your GPU at least 1.5 to 2 inches worth of breathing room for optimum performance. Otherwise you're going to be choking the shit out of your GPU with degraded performance on this thing, wondering why you can't get it to get the frame rate that you're looking for on your game. So make sure that you're giving everything enough room in there. I can do it in mine, but this would be a candidate where I would be like, at this point, it should be just all either hybrid cards where they're air cooled with a small little water block for the VGA core, or just being a pure water, hydro edition. They're basically getting rid of small form factor with these new cards. Now, I don't do small form factor anyway, because small form factor doesn't give adequate airflow. Usually do get a lot of performance degradation due to everything is just getting choked out with heat. But there are a lot of people that I know of that they have nothing but small form factor. They've got a small little apartment. They've got a little itty bitty desk, and they put their computer right behind their 3 monitors, right? And it just looks really clean with the desk that they chose. So I mean, I get the purpose of having a small form factor, but yeah, I mean personally, I can care less if they can't get these GPUs in there. But it does kill off that side of the business for them. For getting these higher end GPUs in a small form factor without having like a water blocking solution for it of some sort. And then you might be wondering what the price of this Gigabyte OC it goes for, right? But bam, that is 20,000. I think that's like I forget what currency that was, but hold on here. That is, Hong Kong dollar. So that translates out to $2,547.79. Yep, you want this bad boy. It's over $2,000. Like everybody had been kind of predicting that the AIB partners would be sitting at, would be right at that $2,000 or maybe above mark, because unlike NVIDIA makes the VGA core, so they've already have all the R&D into it, and they're not selling the VGA core to themselves, they're just making them, right? I mean, they're putting in the R&D for making them, and they're putting in the upfront capital to make the batch run. So their cost of capital is far less. Because like you got to think about it, where are your two biggest expenses in a GPU, or your 3 biggest expenses in a GPU, right? You have your cooler, obvious, that's a gimme. Your cooler is going to be a big one because that's majority of there's a lot of metal there that you got to machine out, right? So you got that. Then you have the VGA core. Then you have the memory modules. Well, NVIDIA can make the coolers in-house, so that helps drop the price down of that. They make their own VGA cores, that drops the price of that. The only thing they have to outsource is the memory, because that's the only thing that they don't make, right? Where Gigabyte and everybody else that's left, that's part of the AIB partnership on here, they're buying the VGA core, they're buying the memory modules, so they're getting hit with 2 markups before they've even started assembly. And then they've got to sit there, bin these chips so that they know what series to run these in, what coolers that they're going to need to do. They've got to do testing in a short amount of time, because everything gets put right under wraps on it. I mean, they're used to doing this, but they have more inherent costs than what NVIDIA is going to have. The only external cost that NVIDIA really curtails are the components to make the PCB, really. But that's cheap because it's an individual component like that on a small level. But it's the memory module. That's the only thing that really, realistically, NVIDIA gets hit with a markup on. So they can slaughter the AIB partners with having their MSRP being listed at what is it? It was like $15.99 was MSRP. Now NVIDIA can hit that MSRP all day long, but we see here 20,000 Hong Kong dollars. That's 2,540. We'll call it $48, right? That's $1,000 higher than what is. Now this could be because somebody was selling it. It's a pre-release. It's not supposed to be being sold yet. If you were to get your hands on this right now, it would not work in any way, shape, or form right now. There is no public released drivers. You still need the drivers in order to make this card work. So without that, the card will not initialize unless you yourself know how to code for the for everything that it needs for Windows or Linux to see it, recognize it, and boot up with it. You'd be making your own drivers basically. If you can do that, then cool. This card becomes usable. But even if you think there's nobody can mine with this because there's no driver support. You need the kernels in order to put that into driver support for the mining software too. So you buy this thing and you're just basically kind of twiddling your thumbs, going, "Yep, I got an early release on it. I can't use it. Can't game on it. Can't do any Bitcoin research on it. Nope." It's like, so it's kind of stupid to buy this thing right now, considering that it was done a little bit early. Yo, what up, Kunda Bits? What's up? What's up? All right, so yeah, that was kind of insane to see that come out. That once again somebody's trying to sell something early. That vendor is going to get in trouble. Don't think that NVIDIA is not going to be able to tell who that is. So that vendor is probably not going to be sold GPUs early ever again. High quality H2O. Stay hydrated, people. And then the AMD 7000 RDNA 2 GPU features confirmed, guys. So the Ryzen 7000s are the first desktop non-G series to feature RDNA 2 graphics system into the GPU. Into the CPU itself. This is actually a nice little feature. Why would I say that that's a nice little feature? If you've never used AMD only, as that whole thing was saying, in non-G series, in order to get a CPU that had onboard graphics, you had to have the G series CPU. Now, what this does for you is it allows you to do debugging issues. So if you have a stability issue, you can try to rule out, is it a BIOS issue? Is it your GPU having a problem? Is there a connectivity issue on the motherboard? It allows you to do some better testing. And above all, if there's another GPU shortage and you end up buying a newer GPU, a CPU that has desktop graphics. Now, it's not going to be the greatest thing on the planet, guys. It's just enough to be able to plug a monitor in. Most of the AMD motherboards do support an HDMI port on the board, but unless you get a G series CPU, it does you no good. Like my my Asus ROG Strix motherboard for my Threadripper here. It's the X399E board. Now this has an HDMI on it, but I've got a non-G Threadripper. I didn't even know they made a G series Threadripper, but there's an HDMI port on here, and there's no way to get video output on this. I tried. I plugged it in, nothing happened. So it'll be interesting to see it now. Some people would be like, well, I don't need that. I'm sure they're not going to be having this be a feature on every lineup. That would be my thing on there. But what's nice about it is the layout of the chipset on there. It'll have the L1 and L2 caches on there, the RB Plus, the rasterizationer. Then you got your compute unit on there, and then you got your shader array. So I mean, it's just like a little itty bitty little chip. So it's going to be like how they do it with the SoC chips, and they're going to be just integrating some of that with their main chipsets. It just allows you to do some diagnostic. If you ever have any kind of issues, you can break it down to the basics of what's needed to fire up a board, right? So the integrated graphics will have the AV1 decode on there, the H264 and HEV decoding and encoding, DisplayPort 2.0 standard on there, HDMI 2.0 with fixed rate link, USB Type-C with DisplayPort, the alt mode. It can do 4K 60 Hz display capabilities and hybrid graphics support. 4K 60 Hz, that's like sitting there and you're just watching YouTube, you're watching a movie. So don't think that you're getting all that. It's just literally, it's for watching TV. Gaming is gonna be horrendous. If anybody's ever tried gaming on an Intel integrated graphics, you know what I'm talking about. It is about as painful as pain gets, especially when you're used to utilizing a GPU for everything too. It will have the AMD Infinity Fabric, DDR5 RAM. So I mean, it's pretty much, it's, you know, PCIe Gen 3. It's got everything that you're gonna need on there to get good performance for, you know, watching movies. So don't expect anything, you know, really good. Hey, what up, Foodwiser? Hey, I'll just popped in for a dumpster fire. Yo, we will get to that in a moment. I'm just kind of waiting for all you awesome people to kind of head up on there. So I'm just kind of, you know, jibber jabbering about some other things as you guys slide on in. So this will be your the lineup on there. So the Ryzen 5 through the new Ryzen 9 on the 7000 series. They will all have RDNA 2 graphics on there, 2 compute units, 2.2 gigahertz. Like I said, it's nothing special. It's the same RDNA 2 structure for every chipset level. So it's not like you go up into the top tier and you get better onboard graphics. No. That's just not how it's gonna work. Thought the title was Bait and Switch. Nope, we will get to that one in a second, my man. In a moment. We're just kind of going over some tech stuff before we get into the meat and potatoes of the topic of today. So I guess with that being said, my man, we might as well start digging into this. So, Ethereum completes the merge Duquan faced arrest warrants, and Bitcoin dives after rally. I don't see any. It dives. I see it when I see a coupon in the market, but you know, to each their own. So let's get down to it. So Norway's central bank, so Norway Bank, is using the Ethereum blockchain structure to construct its central bank digital currency, CBDC, built on the Ethereum blockchain. So we have central banking coming to blockchain, and they want to use Ethereum. That you just can't make this shit up, guys. So, and in all of this, at the same time as the SEC sits there and kind of changes around some of what they're doing in crypto regulation, creating a new little government legislation for all of us, and it will be favoring that Ethereum blockchain. Right, Budweiser, spoken like a true Chinadian. Budweiser, it's like I either start mining again today or turn on the furnace. I don't see any flaw in your fundamental logic there. I'd say turn on the rigs too. They might lose money, but it's still probably cheaper than burning the gas, right? So why would we be worried about why would anybody be worried about the Ethereum, right? So there are things in here that with the way that Ethereum is going that just spells red flags. Them being able to take over nodes. As the merge was happening, they were already threatening to take over 2 different nodes that were acting up. They've already had issues with blank blocks. And now the blocks are damn near empty because nobody's fucking using the blockchain anymore. It has got very, very low volume on there. And they're just tightening up that centralization. Now, there's one more nail in the coffin outside that. Majority of the validator nodes and the relay blocks are being populated on Amazon Web Service, you know, AWS. We have, can't make this up, Flash bots build over 82% of relay blocks, adding to Ethereum's centralization. Bum, bum. Just like I have been saying that this is very, very much centralization right here, guys. So this is the interesting part. Flash block bots, 3,151 blocks. Total ETH value, 547.511. Average block value, 0.174. Nobody is even coming close to them in block propagating. We now have flashbots that have completely taken over the network and is gamifying it now. In full transparency on this one, guys, I liquidated every bit of ETH I had. I'm out of fucking ETH. Done. Absolutely done. This fucking dumpster fire just gets worse every freaking week now. And then on top of that, they're basically telling the people who have staked, you're not on the priority list. We might have an EIP, but nobody's gonna work on it. The EIP, who cares about an EIP when they're not going to do anything about it? and they have them being centralized. He's like, I liquidated my ETH too. Only dust remains. Exactly. I don't even have dust. I was able to. It's like Kundabit's 1070 Ti is on par with a 3060 mining flux, getting the old stuff out. Nice, yeah. Yeah, I've got my 1070 and 1070 Ti's on that flux, earning those parallel assets. Yo. But yeah, I see what it's like. I've been just kind of going, man, I'm gonna, keep an eye on that Ethereum. I did have ETH. I had like 6.5 ETH or something like that, waiting for something to happen, something positive. I did not want this, like I told you guys, I did not want ETH to fail because there are too many other people that are building upon it. Seeing that they are just having more and more centralizations, they're now looking like they are having they have the potential of a single point of failure for the ecosystem now. If flashbots are almost 50% of the network, if it's almost 50% of the network, then we have a conflict of interest here. It's like 51% and people run. And if these flashbots really take over the network like that, you're talking about them being able to just purely gamify it. They would be able to front run every single transaction, period. And it looks like Ethereum really doesn't care about that. They just look at it, oh, there's no attack vector. Bullshit. The attack vector is gamifying the system by front running trades in front of whales or right behind a whale. If you see a whale put in a buy order, you can sit there and propagate your transaction a second milliseconds before him. You get your transaction in on the block before, put your buy order in, his goes in the very next block, and now you make a bunch of money and then you sell on the very next block. And you've basically just gamified the system. This is what people were seeing on the proof of work side that was driving up the gas fees, was that the flashbots were willing to pay whatever gas fee it took to be in the block before that transaction took place. And that's what made it shitty for us. Now, they don't even have to do that. They're like, we'll just control the blocks. Yeah, oh yeah, fucking the rewards for, exactly, John Germain. Not only is the ETH proof of stake locked up, but so are the rewards. So if Ethereum tanks, everybody that's put their money into staking loses. Everyone's going to lose here. My word of caution would be not to be using it, and don't be in the ecosystem. It's a dumpster fire. If you are in ETH directly. Now, the problem that people are going to see here is if ETH tanks, it's going to tank everything else around it. Bored Apes, all the NFT market gets wiped out with it, because their value is on the fact that the Ethereum blockchain works as intended. And if everybody just abandons it, because it is like every transaction's being front run, that becomes an issue. It's worse than an ICO. It's way worse than an ICO. You see, at least with an ICO, I could sit there and sell you, I can sell you my position in an ICO, right? So with that being said, I can get out of an ICO. Proof of stake, you're fucked. This is a one-way trip. And even Tim Belko had even said that it was certain groups of people that were saying that it was attached to Shanghai. It was certain groups of people saying that it was going to happen next year. If you look at their roadmap, it doesn't have a due date for proof of stake unlocks. There is nobody that was there. There was no promise or guarantee other than from certain interest groups that it would be unlocked in a reasonable time. Tim Belko had said maybe 2023, 2024. It's not on the priority list. So I hope nobody that's here had put any of their money into the staking stuff, because basically, if there is $2.1 billion locked up in Ethereum, that's the floor level. That's the ground floor of where Ethereum's valuation will go. It can't go any low. Well, no. I stand corrected. $2.1 billion is not the ground floor, because it is the ground floor right now with the Ethereum evaluation at where it is right now. If everybody were to pull out of Ethereum, if everybody dumped Ethereum, the only people that would be holding would be the stakers. You'd be close to probably a few $1 million evaluation at that point, because all the other value would have been extracted out from the smart people dumping ETH. That'd be my play. I mean, I find it, the smart person is going to dump ETH, and that's what I've already done. That being fully transparent on that, 0 ETH. I liquidated all that stuff into that sweet, the busy Bitcoin. Yeah, and even the devs are having a little bit of a fight too, because ETH proof of work, or ETHW, has some of the Ethereum guys that are the devs on there that believed in the proof of mining and did not think that. So I mean, it's almost like it's a small little contentious hard fork, and I wonder if it's enough to bring over some of the developers from the Ethereum main chain over to the Ethereum proof of work chain. That would be interesting. That'd be an interesting play. Like John, it's like the devs got screwed. Here's two, as they can't get mining rewards. Yeah. Key Point Production LLC. Hopefully others don't see this. You're successful as a proof of work. Don't move to proof of stake. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's gonna be that that others are gonna see you're successful as proof of work. I really do. I don't see any reason for anyone to go to proof of stake. You're talking a consensus layer. It has nothing to do with the usability. Consensus is nothing. But if you make a system on a proof of work setup and you basically scrap that for proof of work, for proof of stake, blah, blah, blah. You're gonna have growing pains. A lot of the proof of stake coins out there have too many issues, and I see with them having flash bots that are now almost 50% of the network. That's a fucking problem. So out of 82.77% of all the blocks that have been found since Flashbots has been built, it's all been done by Flashbots alone. They have validated 82% of the network so far. So, I mean, it's like, you can't make this up. This is the facts. You know, you can't argue with the numbers. 3,151 blocks confirmed. Look at everybody else. I mean, their closest competitor is 491. We'll call that 500. This is a fucking rounding error at that point, bro. So, Ethereum just got gamified. This is not a good thing for Ethereum. So they are 46.15% of the proof of stake nodes, and for storage of data. They're not far from owning the network. This is almost a 51% attack, guys, on that Ethereum. So if the devs for Ethereum were smart, they would sit there and try to get as many nodes as they can, but I don't know if they can outpace Flashbots, because these are people with very, very deep pockets that will pay anything to make sure that they can front run all whales. So yeah, Ethereum might be going, unless they can sit there and fix this issue. I say fixing this issue without centralizing it further. They need to be able to do this to where they don't have control, but they're limiting the amount of times that somebody can validate a block within an epoch. But then that's a dual-edged sword too, because what if you don't have enough validator nodes and storing nodes in order to have the blockchain move forward properly like that? So with that being said, I don't know how they would really fix this moving forward, let alone do they care? That's a big one right there. Does the devs of Ethereum even care enough to want to fix the gamifying effect of Flashbots? We know how Flashbots were messing up the network when it was on the proof of work chain. Now we're seeing them just take over the network on proof of stake, because these are the whales. These are the people that were manipulating Ethereum, and they did not go away. This is one of the things that I said it on several different videos where I was like, I wonder how the Flashbots are going to interact with all of this. Here we go. You know, this is how they interact with it. By validating 82% of the blocks. Key point production. Is it bad for me to be a little happy that the transition is failing? Yes and no. Yes, if you're looking at it from the way that the devs went about doing this. Yes, it's not bad that you are happy that this is failing on them, right? Because there was a lot of people, Bits Be Tripping, and many others that are way better coders than I am. Way better. I am a novice. I'm like a script kiddie, you know? I know how to manipulate the software that's in front of me, that kind of deal, right? Real small little stuff. I'm good at breaking software too. But you know, it's like you have people that know, you know, data security a lot better than I do, and they were raising red flags on this. So from the developer standpoint, they reap what they sow. They basically decided to push a beta system and pushed it onto main chain and said, we'll just fix it as it goes. And that's really not the attitude you want to take when there's millions of people's dollars on the line right here. So, I mean, it's like, I think that they could have, but then when I would sit there and say that you should feel a little bad because there are people like me and you that did not do their research. Now, I could sit there and be like, you guys are a fool for investing in things you do not understand. You deserve to get what you get if you blindly throw money in because somebody on YouTube told you to go buy it. It's like never listen to a random guy on YouTube. Do your own research. It's like us YouTubers that are decent YouTubers, we always iterate time and time again. Do your own research. I'm trying to sit here and just go through my research process and kind of my thoughts on the researching that I've already done. You have people that think that Ethereum is better than Bitcoin. I do not feel bad if those people lose their money. They need to be brought back down to reality. And the only way that they're going to learn is by losing money. People learn from losses. There are two different ways of dealing with those losses. You either go internal and go, I shouldn't have gotten involved with this scam, or you become a better person and a better investor on the other side of this by learning and licking your wounds, like I did from 2018. It's like, this is not my first rodeo. A lot of people were licking their wounds after the 2017 crash. So I mean, there's a lot of pain in the market that's already been felt, and there are so many people that were raising red flags on Ethereum from day one that there was issues with this. Now, when it was brought into effect, I looked at it from the point of view whenever I came across Ethereum, that it's like, okay, it's a small little blockchain. They're trying smart contracts, but the problem that I saw with it was a lot of scammy coins and scammy projects were being just birthed off of it. It was almost like you can just nickname it the scam launchpad. So they had bad, it's like you had the Bitcoin community ragging on them, on the Ethereum community, because it was a centralized hot piece of garbage. And the miners were like, it's not centralized. We're decentralized too. And it's like, yes, you were decentralized only in mining. The network itself ran centralized. It still runs centralized. And we're just further watching the centralization because they have abandoned the working class for the rich oligarchs. This is what they get when they were like, we would rather have rich oligarchs that command and control the network. This is no different. Like I keep telling you, you freaking make anything that's a governance protocol, you are no different than the government. Governance and government run identically. It's got a bunch of extra steps that cause inefficiencies and cause a lot of issues. And if they were wanting to keep everything decentralized, they wouldn't have gone down this route, period. Them going down this route and then having central banks that are now looking to build the central bank digital coin on their platform. There are reasons for this, because the network is now able to be fully controlled. No central bank is going to give up their absolute control. You are not going to be able to tell me that if anybody decides to use the CBDC coin on Ethereum blockchain, that Ethereum founders themselves are not going to do something to help them. You're out of your mind. These people do not want to go to prison, and if the government comes down on them for the central bank, they will roll over on you. This just spells bad news. And on top of that, because all the stakers, all their coins are locked up, all their rewards are locked up, you can't. There's no more ecosystem on Ethereum anyway. The ecosystem on Ethereum was us miners sitting there utilizing the network. Even Bitsby Trippin tried to explain this to the Ethereum devs, that we are the grassroots movement. We were the people that were experimenting with every single aspect on there. Now that we are gone, there is no more experimentation on there. We are watching we just watched a major project cut its jugular, is what we just watched. Actually, this is the first that I've heard of bots on ETH. Yo, bots have been on ETH the whole time. AI has arisen. Yeah, it's like, Nemesis, you are my research. John Jermaine Skynet. Yeah, exactly. Beware of the crypto predators. Key point, no. And I will honestly say no. Proof of stake has its place. And that's going to be if you are trying to get speed, because proof of stake, how can I put it? So a credit card would be on that proof of stake system. A bank would be on that proof of stake system, right? Because it gives you that absolute control. So if you are trying to do the old financial system on blockchain, then you can do proof of stake. If you want to sit there and have a truly decentralized network, you need to have it to where anybody can run a node. That's Bitcoin. Anytime that if you go to bitcoin.org and you download the Bitcoin core wallet and you turn on that core wallet and you have it on, right? You don't have to have it open. Just have it running on your computer. Have it running on a Raspberry Pi. You don't even have to interact with it. It's one node. All it takes for the Bitcoin network to survive is one node and one miner. That's all it takes. You can validate your own transaction, right? So with that being said, Ethereum's node structure is now behind a 32 ETH paywall. Now your node is not decentralized. Your node just became centralization of the rich. So we have rich people controlling the nodes, and we have those rich people also dictate, because those same rich people are the same rich people that invested into ETH early on and have the big stake share hold in there, the 70% pre-mine. I'm sure that they're the ones using the flash bots, just gamifying the system, stealing from the poor people to give to the rich. It sounds like more government structuring. That's why the central banks are going to utilize it. Now, if you want something that is pure, you're going to want a non-centralized node that has no barrier to entry to utilize, and just have your node baked into your wallet. And then you can sit there and take and you can take your miner and then have it mined to your wallet. And then you're mining and verifying off of your own verifiable node. That's where decentralization comes in. I can use your node or I can use my own node. And we can both mine permissionless. And guess what? With Bitcoin, nobody can sit there and push code out onto Bitcoin without the whole network in consensus. Everybody has to agree to update the software. If nobody updates the software, it doesn't matter if a BIP is proposed for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Improvement Protocol, right? A BIP. So it doesn't matter what the BIP that the Bitcoin devs put out. If the network says no, it won't ever happen. That's why you have Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is a BIP for I forget what the BIP was for it, but it was for making 1 megabyte blocks. It was the big block war, right? The main chain for Bitcoin never updated. It was a small group of people, and it forked the code over for Bitcoin Cash. So that is a contentious fork. But you know what's nice about Bitcoin? Anybody can do that. I can take Bitcoin's code, fork it, and make it my own. You know, call it Nemesis coin. But it's everything Bitcoin has to offer, right? Only 21 million, 10-minute block times, SHA-256, mineable by ASICs, right? And then all I would do is add on to it. Maybe I add privacy onto it so that the wallets are hidden. So that's my new coin, right? But it's Bitcoin basically. Under the hood, it's Bitcoin. And that's what makes it a beautiful open source protocol that is decentralized. I'm not going to control you from not making your own fork, but let's not argue that this Bitcoin's the main chain. Everything else is a shitcoin, fucking branch coming off of it, right? As long as you are not calling it Bitcoin and you are not saying that it's better than Bitcoin somehow, just because you made an improvement that works for your use case. It's like use case by use case. Just because you fork Bitcoin doesn't mean that you made a better Bitcoin. It just you made a Bitcoin that suited your needs. And maybe, just maybe, some other people might find value in that too. But it doesn't make it better than Bitcoin. Where you have Ethereum devs are like, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and do it. Because it's governance. Their dev team has control. Their dev team dictates what they will and won't do on the network. Their dev team doesn't like your node, they'll take it over. If that dev team thought that a transaction in the block was fraudulent, they'll just go ahead and destroy the block that has your transaction in it too. Guess what? You lost your funds. These are going to be issues that Ethereum is just made it as a self-made wound. Is this because of proof of stake? No, this is their blindness on trying to fix the core problems of Ethereum. Things that I know bigger dev guys that are more about security have been sitting here raising red flags over. It's not so much that we need to not utilize proof of stake. Proof of stake's not the problem. It was that Ethereum had issues in its base layer. And that's what I was screaming about for the last 2 years. I've got issues that I've said that when they go to proof of stake, they are not fixing the problems that have been already on proof of work side. If they were fixing the problems that were there, making it a better user experience, stopping the wash trading on there, stabilizing the network, all these other things, stopping the ability to be gamifying the network on the expense of the users, then it would be like, okay, go to proof of stake. You're fixing shit. But because the devs it wasn't on their quote unquote priority list, they just wanted to get rid of proof of work mining by any means necessary. It did not matter if they were bringing a working project onto the other side. I guarantee you, they were being pressured by their investors and the pre-miners that they wanted to go to proof of stake. Because a lot of those people have their coins locked up. Oh yeah, this is the dumpster fire I was saying that I'm talking about. There's issues with fucking with Ethereum moving forward, guys. This is something that I would kind of like, at least me from my perspective, wash my hands and I walk away, right? Like eBay, Facebook, Marketplace, sell your stuff now to have submitted 1099s. You're gonna get taxed when you sell your rigs. If Yes and no. Yes and no. It depends on how you sell your stuff. Depends on how you're selling your stuff. So I'll say that. eBay has lowered the sales limit to 20,000 or a large number of sales. The new limit is very low. Yeah, for sure. Found out when their change of service statement summaries. Damn. PayPal service is now denying money sent from foreign businesses to you and denying you to send your foreign business or something like that. Yeah. PayPal is very centralized. PayPal is very much censored. If they, yeah, there's bad shit. That's why I'm trying to get into being on a pure Bitcoin ecosystem, because I don't have the PayPal issues. I utilize PayPal only because of the fact that I get the buyer protection from them. Outside of that, I hate using them. I hate using any fucking credit card out there. It's just like a debt card. People don't understand how to use credit cards. It trips them up. But yes, I do hate the censorship that's in the PayPal ecosystem now. And yeah, I have my issues with them, but that's a whole different issue. Just a reminder, shit for bits. Yeah, we mine shit coins for Bitcoin. What up, Rude? Hi. It's like, exactly, buyer protection. Yeah, that's all that I use it for. That is all that PayPal is good for. They have one thing they're good for. And I am slowly dropping them for Bitcoin. You know, it's a slow transition for me. I mean, like I'm operating in both worlds of fiat and credit card. You know, the fiat world and the crypto world. I'm like half and half right now, but my income comes in crypto. And so, if Kundabits is still here, we will be able to soon take your rig. You wanted to, we're almost there. We're almost there, my man. We are almost ready to open the family mine, second part of the location, or the second half of the building. And it kind of looks like the building might be for us to utilize. And we're probably gonna make the landlord like, you know, like a kind of like an offer. Yeah. So big building. Looks like we should have a megawatts worth of power there. Like, how many power grids are you planning on using? Hadouken! So yeah, it's like I should have about 1 megawatts worth of power there. Building's pretty damn large, guys. So space will not be the problem. So it's just mere of putting holes in the wall, putting fans in there, and getting your guys' rigs set up at the facility, guys. So moving forward, guys, we are going to have a lot of power. We'll be able to set up a lot of fucking rigs, guys. I'm like super fucking excited. I'm going to be putting a deposit down for the second part of the building that we are going to be flowing into next. And she's basically stated that she's not gonna sell us the building. And I do not even want to fathom asking her to buy the building off of her. This building has been in her family's trust for over 100 years. This is their family legacy. So I just want to be able to go, you know what? Let me offer you, let us slowly build into your building. Do not rent the fucking shit out. And we will make you exorbitantly wealthy with us. And she's like, you make a good bargain. Key point. You have video explaining this taking rigs thing. I've explained it in not, I don't have a video directly about it. So basically, the family, since it looks like you're new here, so I have me and my business partner. We are starting up the Family Mine LLC. The Family Mine LLC. I've already got my rigs over there. So I've already got hash rate in the facility. Once I go into the other part of the building, I'm trying to just, I want to secure all the power there, right? I don't want anybody else to take the power. I want all of it, right? So the only way that I can do that is I've just got to, whether I have the ability to use the power or not, as soon as people are not renting a section of the building, I am immediately taking that part of the building over. So that was that, because like I want to secure all the power I could possibly get out of this location, right? So with that being said, I'm gonna have more power than what I can use, right? I'm just give me, right? It creates a very unique opportunity for you. If you so choose so. I have a Patreon where if you become a pseudo hasher, which is in my VIP tier, you get early access to getting into the facility. So as soon as I put the deposit down, we start setting up into the new portion of the facility. I've already got 7 rigs from a customer already there waiting to go. And basically what ends up happening is you can send your rigs to us. I do not do open air rigs. So with that being said, you either have to supply your rigs with whether if you're doing A6, that's plug and play. I put that onto a shelf and I plug it in. You have full control. And you pay the electric, which will be between 8 and 9 cents per kilowatt hour USD. And we basically monitor everything. It's $5 per month per rig. And this includes once a month, we'll dedust it for you. If there are any breakdowns, there will be a service charge at that point. As soon as we detect a rig down, we will initiate an email to you stating, hey, look, we power cycled it. It is definitely having an issue. I will go through my initial diagnostics will be between like $20 to $100, depending on how quickly I can get to the, it's like if I can get to it really quickly and, it's a riser, I'm gonna, it depends on the server rig that you're using with your GPUs. Right, there are some that are riserless boards, so sometimes the riserless board goes bad. This does happen. I have a couple that have gone bad, so this does happen. So my time to take that apart, put it back together. If I find that it's a riser board, and I've got to basically bust everything down really quickly, you're probably looking at about $30. I swap out a board. Really quickly, and then whatever the cost of that board is, unless you are renting a server from us. If you're renting one of our servers on there, that's a whole different discussion. We are still kind of going through the contract on that aspect for the renting of server cases from us. I'm thinking for the most part, we're just going to have you guys buy them if you want to utilize them, at least starting off at first. So the server cases, we'd be doing like, I think they're like $200, maybe $300, something like that. I'd have to relook at the numbers on that. I don't have them sitting like directly in front of me. They're at the facility and I'm not anywhere near it. And basically, you know, service agreement, we go through, we repair your stuff right on site. Whether you've got ASICs, GPUs, everything is done on site. I'm an electronic repair person. So you get to see the guy, and I'll probably even be doing videos on this when time permits. You know, I'll be maybe at the facility, sitting there with my soldering station and my hot air and soldering station, sitting there breaking down ASIC boards, fixing them, you know, doing all that good stuff on there. If you've got like hash boards or something like that, you're probably looking at about $600 to $900 for refurbishing each individual hash board, just because there's a lot of work to go into a hash board. It is time, and you know, time is money. You know, it's like you're looking at a lot of components that go into it. So I mean, it kind of depends on what's all wrong with it. You know, if it's just the boost controller goes bad on there, that's going to be far less money. But if I've got to go in there and hunt down ASIC chip failure, you know, you're definitely in the 650 range for a hash board refurbishing. So Nemesis could retire in 10 years from his business. But yeah, I mean, like, we'll basically, if you're sending us GPU rigs, we prefer them in server chassis already. If not, you know, we'll put them in the server chassis, charge you for the server chassis, and you know, it's like, and then if there's any kind of repairs necessary at any point in time, I go over everything with you step by step. I stay in 100% communication. As a mining facility operator, my goal is to make sure that I have a 92% uptime on average. Reason why it's not a 100% uptime is because you still have to turn things off in order to do general maintenance like dedusting things. So cleaning, everything's going to come down, you know, each thing will come down, but I'll be doing that in like sections. You know, these days I take down these sections, and all of these ones one at a time will turn off for, you know, as long as it takes me to, you know, get all the dirt and debris off of them that may or may not be there. You know, it's like if I notice that I can go longer without cleaning them, you'll have better uptime. So I mean, my thing is to make sure you have uptime, you have full control over your rig. We do not point your rigs at anything to hash at. You hash with your wallet address, and you know, you contract with us what you're going to have there, and you can always add more, or you can always take them down, and just remember, you're responsible for shipping. It's not we are not trying to keep your equipment. If at any point in time you're like, hell, I'm done mining, and I will immediately box that stuff up. You pay for shipping. I ship them out to wherever, you know, I ship them out to you or wherever you'd like to have them shipped. But you pay the shipping on there. That's all that I require. So I mean, it's like I try to be as much up and up as I can. I just want to make sure that your guys' rigs are up and running, because above all, we're a big hashing family. So the more that we can kind of group together a little bit with our hash rate, not so much, you know, hashing in one building, or not our hash rate, but hashing in one building. Reverse that. To where we can benefit from industrial power, right? And have better electric rates than you would see at your house at any point in time. 8 cents a kilowatt hour, 9 cents a kilowatt hour, all in is way better than the national average, which you're going to be right around 12 cents a kilowatt hour USD. So it's all about, you know, playing with the numbers. So if I can help get you guys into better profitability, that's what my goal is. So I will have millions of dollars worth of insurance. It's actually not that bad. Corporate insurance is not that bad. Millions of dollars, like I can insure for millions for less than you can insure your house. I will guarantee you that right now. Computer tech. What city and state? With an umbrella policy and everything too. Well, no, it's like for me, it's just all standalone. But computer tech, I won't tell you the exactly where, but I will tell you that I am in somewhere Oklahoma. Got to get it. It's like anywhere near Texas, and you're doing pretty good. I'm not worried about the taxation on there. Whenever you start dealing with the corporate loopholes, or not loopholes, tax deductions. So I can do tax deductions on depreciating assets of my rigs, and I'm only providing a service. So to them, it's just a service business. So basically, if I take in Bitcoin for the business, I will take a small portion of it and push that off to the side, and that will be for long-term hodl for the business in case something happens, and then the rest of it just gets instantly liquidated to avoid a lot of the taxable events on it. Yeah, Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain. Computer tech. Accommodations can be made. Especially for somebody who is contracted with us. We would probably just have you sign an end. I wouldn't mind having you come over to the if you sign contract with us and you are having us host your mining rigs, and you wanted to drop them off at the facility and actually look at the physical facility, I don't have an issue with that. I would just have you sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that you are not legally allowed to disclose where the location is at. That's all I would say. So if that works for you, I think we can work some stuff out. Awesome computer tech. Like I said, I'm very reasonable about things. This is a community project, it's like me and Mikkel are here for you guys too, as much as we are for making sure our stuff is up and running, our stuff's taken care of. If we bring your stuff in, your guys are going to be taken care of as good as we take care of our stuff. It's like my stuff stays clean, your stuff stays clean. I hate dirty equipment. I hate runaway temperatures. I hate runaway temperatures cause broken equipment. Dust cause broken equipment. Bugs cause broken equipment. So I try to avoid broken equipment. I've bought like $600 worth of industrial fans to pull air through, pull the heat out of the building already, just for my rigs alone. Imagine what I'm going to do for everybody else, So I know what I need to do. I'm just supersizing what I'm already doing. Will I have growing pains? A little bit, but I'd rather have growing pains than not being able to do anything about it. Hey, man, I know, Jason. To be careful, Google likes to put anything on maps, just like where Joe Biden fell, right? I know, I just went there. So you guys got any other comments or questions before I head up out of here, guys? I see 15 of you awesome people and only 12 likes, guys. Come on, smash that Lizardy like button. Subscribe if you're new here, especially if you've made it this far through the video. please give me a subscribe. You know, just think about it. Just, you know, not mandatory. Just think about it. No pressure. But yeah, I mean, it's like I do these videos Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So, you can tune in at any point in time. So if you think of a question now and you're like, you know, you think of a question later on tonight and you're like, shit, just remember, I'm on at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. Yo! Like, take that location now and name it something mundane, and now it can be actually used to label your business. I like the idea of calling it the family mine, because when you mine with us, you become part of our family. So yeah, I mean, if you think of any questions after the show, write it down. I always recommend people to write it down, because by tomorrow you'll forget. You know, it's like that one idea that you had many years ago that you forgot, that was a great idea. You're like, you'd make $1 million off of it, but because you didn't write it down, you forgot it. Definitely, guys, smash that Lizzie like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. If you are new to the community here, certainly check out the links down below. I have a Discord. It is free to join, guys. It doesn't matter if you want to join the Patreon or not. Feel free to join the community. We got great people in there, a lot of IT people, a lot of crypto traders, stock traders, just, you know, people that are kind of a little invested into that sweet busy Bitcoin, and they don't do anything else with it. They're not really big crypto buffs or anything like that, but they're still a part of the community. I have non-crypto people that are gamers in the crypto in the Discord. So I mean, it's like we kind of accept everybody as long as nobody's sitting there going, "You're the reason why my GPUs are so high," and then not blaming Nvidia for artificially inflating prices, and then we're all good. And if you're been here for a while and you'd like to, tip your favorite YouTuber, certainly check out the Patreon link down below. I have a $5 tier. I have my little hasher tier, which is like a $10 or $15 tier. And then I have my pseudo hasher tier. Now, the pseudo hasher tier are going to be the people who get the first VIP access to the family mine. And it also comes with a little perk on there that you have to join the Patreon in order to find that perk out. But the perk makes the Patreon payment worth it. I'll just leave it like that. And that ends once we open up the doors officially to the public. Now, after we open it up to all the VIP members, I will be opening it up after that to the little hasher tier. The little hasher tier will be the second wave of hosted miners coming into the mining facility. After that, we open to the public, and the perks of going into the pseudo hasher tier go away. So we're coming close to the perk of the pseudo hasher going away. So I'm just saying, it's a pretty big perk. I'm just saying. And with the perk, you have to stay as enrolled into the Patreon in order to continue receiving that perk too. Let me just point it out that way. So if you go in and you get the perk and then you cancel it right away, well, you lose the perk that comes with it. So get in now or miss out. You know, it's up to you guys. It's up to you. Just saying. So with that being said, guys, I will catch you all later. Definitely everybody FA in the chat, guys, because you guys are rated F because you're fucking awesome. So peace out, guys. And of course, stay savage. Yo!